Hey, welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Show, a podcast where we talk about our favorite video games and all things pop culture with an emphasis on our favorites. We're your hosts, Jared and Mauro.
Hey, my name is Mauro. This is my voice. This is Mauro's voice that is attached to Mauro.
And on this edition of Razdaz Reviews, we are checking out the newly released game, Elsie, by Night Shift Games and Platonic Friends. Elsie is a technicolor, hyperkinetic, roguelike action platformer filled with procedurally generated levels, an army of robots to blast through, and a wide scope of items and weaponry to make each run unique. In Elsie, you master countless magic tech weapons and abilities in order to embrace the chaos. Let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at RazzleDazzleShow, on TikTok at Razzle_Dazzle_Show, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Raz_Daz_Pod. And with all that being said, it's Razzle Dazzle time! So first off, right off the bat, I just want to say thank you to Platonics and Night Shift Games for allowing us to have early access to Elsie. Hashtag not an ad, hashtag non-sponsored, right? You know, we're not getting paid for any of this. In this review, all of our opinions are our own, not being influenced by any outsized
These are
sources.
non-sponsored opinions.
Yes.
We know how much you guys hate it when we make money and get paid, so...
We don't even make money, period.
We don't even make money. This is a free show. We make no money.
But yeah, all that to say, you know, thank you so much, Platonics and Night Shifts, for giving us this amazing opportunity, honor, and privilege to have early access to Elsie, which is out now on PS5, Steam, and the Nintendo Switch, and we're just gonna get to it, right?
All right, yeah. Honestly, it took me playing this game to realize that, well, playing this game and talking to you, actually, Jared, to realize that I had never played a roguelike before. And I was familiar with the term, but when you were listing off the games, you know, you were talking about Binding of Isaac and Crypt of the Necromancer, and
Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Crypt of the Necrodancer, because it's
music-based. Yeah.
Music. Have you played the Zelda version?
Of course I have, dude.
Okay, all right. Well, listen. So I was looking at all of these games, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what's the common denominator? Like, what links all these games together? And as I'm looking at them, I realize, wait, I've never played any of them.
And that's really interesting because, you know, you were telling me, you're texting me, you called me about like all these certain things that make a roguelike, and you're like, you know, kind of not necessarily complaining, but you're like wondering, you're curious about like, why does this keep happening? Why is this? And I'm explaining to you, well, that's what a roguelike is, dude. Like, dying is the name of the game, you know? You gotta find these collectibles in the run, is RNG based, you know, and all this type of stuff. And you're like, oh, yeah, but like, why? And I'm like, dude, that should have been the first indicator. But yeah, I'm not even a big roguelike player either. Like, I usually don't like roguelikes because... most of them, Binding of Isaac, Crypt of the Necrodancer, Dead Cells, right? They punish, or it feels like they punish the players for not necessarily playing the game, but like when you die, it feels like a hard blow to the gut, right? It feels like you're forever climbing up a mountain while trying to roll a boulder up the hill, up the mountain. You know what I mean? And yes, that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be hard, or at least the genre usually is. But Elsie isn't that. Yes, there's a lot of dying, but you're never punished for it, right? So for people unfamiliar with roguelikes, it's, you know, the levels are randomly generated. The items you get per run is randomly generated, and also depends on what you unlock as you go. The name of the game is dying, so like the challenge is trying to get as far as you can without dying, trying to beat the bosses of each level. But if you die, you reset, you start right from the very beginning, but you don't necessarily lose your progress in terms of the items you collect. Yeah, they reset you, right? But once you already buy an item, you can still have the chance to find it on your next run. There's also upgrades you can unlock by purchasing them, kind of, and those are passive abilities every time you level up, which really helps and kind of determines how well you're gonna do during your run. But the key thing that separates Elsie from any other roguelike, it's supposed to feel like a power fantasy, or you're supposed to feel empowered as you go. The more you play, the stronger you get. Not just like actually physically in the game, but like your skill level too. The more you learn, the more better you are at handling certain situations. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I did notice that. I mean, yes, obviously the leveling up is crazy in this game. You level up fast, but not in a way that it seems inconsequential.
Yeah.
Because every now and again, I would be like at the end of a little area, and then I would see the big E at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, press this, and then you have the 4 possible level ups that you could choose from. But also, I realized that I got better at fighting certain bosses that at first I thought were design flaws the way they were set up. Because there are specific ones, like the ones on the ground with the sword.
Yeah.
They charge at you. There are melee ones, but there are some that like stay stationary in the air and shoot at you. But there are other ones that move often, up and down, like in a vertical axis. And I kept running into these ones that they were like bees, that they wouldn't move from their area. They would just shoot at me.
The green ones?
I think it was the yellow ones.
The yellow ones.
There was one that was stuck or something.
Right.
And I kept trying to shoot him and I couldn't because he was too high for me to jump.
Right.
But too like not high enough so that if I jump from this other place. But eventually I did the what was it? The like when you're on a wall and you're slowly going down. Yeah. And she's like gripping onto the wall.
You're clinging on the wall, yeah. Sliding down.
Yeah, and I didn't know you could shoot while clinging.
Yeah.
And I did. And I like how slow at first I was like, oh, the it's too slow when you're coming down.
Yeah.
But when you're shooting it makes sense. It's like, okay, I kind of like it.
And you can press down to like slide faster. So you've never really played roguelikes before. Let me ask you this. Have you ever played any Mega Man X games?
No. The closest to this game that I've played is like Souls-like games. Like Bloodborne, Sekiro,
dying
stuff
repeatedly.
like that. Where, you die repeatedly, and in a lot of these games, you lose all of your things. But the thing that I like about roguelikes, and I feel like I would put them a step above Souls-like games, actually, in this aspect, is that it's repetitive, but it's not obnoxiously repetitive. You don't get irritated. Because I love playing Bloodborne. I've been playing it a lot these past few weeks. I'm doing a bet with my friends to see who could win first. But every time you die, it is a grind. I don't mind grinding, but you're going back to the same place, fighting the same enemies. I'm getting used to it. I know exactly where they're gonna come from. Mm-hmm. This one in Elsie, it was way different. I was used to the dying, but what really took me like out of it, what shocked me was that every single time I came in, the level was different. Mm-hmm. There were different enemies and it was a different level design. And on top of that, when the tutorials would show up, they would give you like okay, here's how to attack, and then you can also do this to double jump, and then it lets you go through the level. And you try all that stuff out and you're good, and then you die and you come back, and then it's a new tutorial. Yeah. It's like, oh, by the way, now that you're used to these mechanics, let me introduce you to these other mechanics that are also in the game. And I thought that was pretty cool because it doesn't like ambush you with all this information at once that you forget. Yeah,
it doesn't handhold you. The tutorials are very sparing. Really, if you already know the game, for example, like, let's say you start off a new thing, right? You can essentially beat that run on your first try if you already are familiar with the mechanics. Elsie's move kit at the very beginning, not even talking about weapons or upgrades or anything like that, her move kit is vast, and man, does it like offer you a lot of options while maneuvering through these levels. Of course, you have the dash, you have the wall jumping, you got the shooting, of course, but that parry you were talking about earlier, you get the parry and then counterattack if you time it right. It's kind of hard to master at first because it took me a while to like even understand how to use it essentially, but once you get good with that, you start to notice, oh wait, after shooting for a while, the energy or the ammo meter like depletes pretty fast. Everything depletes this ammo meter, the down stomp or whatever, the dive attack, the dash attack, the shooting. But if
it's
you
like your stamina or something.
It's your stamina, yeah. But if you parry and counter, not only does that negate damage and also damage other enemies and like breaks away incoming bullets, but it also refills that meter.
Yeah, that's really cool. When I noticed that, because I didn't realize that at first because I wasn't parrying or countering a lot, but it incentivizes you to do so. There's a lot of games where I won't risk parrying because it's such a high risk for such a small reward. Yeah. It's like, oh, if I get it wrong, I'm going to get hit. why risk it when I could just, like, I know that I could beat this dude. I don't need to wait for him to attack me.
Yep.
Here, though, I mean, it's the risk and the reward are pretty even. Yeah, you risk getting hit, but you might have gotten hit anyways. And if you do the parry and the counter, you do deal damage back. You completely negate any damage. And like you said, now the stamina bar refills a little bit. So I did find myself trying to, like, I didn't care about dying after a bit, and I just kept trying to master the counter attack and the parry. And I have to say that I really like the way they did it. I genuinely like the way that it's, the enemy gives you his feint. You wait a second, then you parry, and then you wait another second, and when the beat hits and the circle goes green, you do the counter attack. And it was good. Like, it felt good. It felt good on my fingers as I was playing the. Yeah,
there's a kind of rhythm to it. I'm gonna be honest, I barely use the damn parry throughout most of my playthrough. I didn't start like feeling the need to use it until I was getting to like the end game final boss area, because like that final boss, you haven't gotten that far yet, have you?
No.
Yeah, okay. The final boss is tough, man. It's tricky. So the parry will be your best friend. That's all I'm gonna say.
The fact that you beat this, you got to credits in what, 24 hours?
No, less than. I got it to 6 in 6 hours. So
no way.
As soon as I got home, I downloaded the game. It was like 5-6 o'clock in the evening, and I didn't stop playing. I didn't put down the controller until I got to credits, and that was like 12 o'clock, 12:30 a.m. The following
That's
morning.
funny, dude.
Yeah, man, and I got like the majority of the trophies in this time frame. Like, the only other trophies I have, even right now, hopefully this changes by the time this episode releases, is equipping certain sets of items that is based on RNG. So literally it's a random chance for me to get these things. At this time recording it right now, I have 38 out of the 43 achievements.
Oh, that's not
86%. Yeah, I only have so little more to go, and it's all RNG based, and that kind of sucks, but like that's the name of the game.
Well, yeah.
So
I actually don't mind that type of thing too much, because it can get annoying while you're playing, but there's a feeling that I started experiencing when I was playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse, grinding for RNG things. It feels so good when you finally get it.
Yes.
And right now it's perfect because you're getting it for an achievement. Getting it is the reward for you. The reason I started feeling this while I was playing Xenoverse was because I spent literal days grinding the same exact little like flash quest in Xenoverse so that I could get just the top to finish off this costume that I had on my character, because I had everything else. And obviously the drops are RNG. When I finally got it, I felt so good. Dude, I didn't even put it on my character though. I got it and I was so tired that I like exited the game. I've never played Xenoverse since. I played Xenoverse 2 when it came out for a little bit, but that was it, dude. Like the grind in and of itself sometimes, like that's and I hate saying this. I hate saying this because I feel like games that rely too much on grinding are cheap, but sometimes like the grind, especially for a trophy, is worth it. Like that dopamine thing. Yeah. So when you get that, enjoy the moment right now, because once it's over, it's over. Once you've 100 completed it, you're like, oh, whatever. Yeah. I did it 100%.
That's literally, well, there's also in-game achievements too. So even if I get the platinum,
that's right.
Even if I get the platinum, I wouldn't have 100% it technically, but the platinum is my goal for now. Hopefully I get that before this episode comes out. So I'm putting myself in a time crunch already. But regardless, I've been having a fun time throughout this entire game, even with this RNG stuff. There's actually a little trick to getting these sets that are RNG based. If I would have known about it, I would have had 2 more of them than what I already have. If you just wait to buy them, and like you see the entire set in the store, and then you buy them all at the same time, you'll get the trophy, you'll get the achievement, because all you have to do is equip them at the same time. You don't necessarily have to find them on a run. So if I would have known that sooner, yeah.
A little, okay, all right. Well, that's something you figured out on your own, right?
Yes.
See, the game isn't even out. There was a point where I was playing and I was thinking, man, let me just I should look up like a walkthrough to see how this person did this. And as I pick up my phone, I realize, wait, the game isn't out. There's no game.
Isn't that kind of a fun thing to know and be able to experience?
Oh, absolutely, dude. I've never jumped into a game that is like super new, brand new, that I've never watched a trailer for or know anything about.
You had no exposure to this.
Right, I had no exposure at all. I was going in blind. I didn't know what I was expecting. When I booted up the game and I saw it started out with like the doctor, Dr. Gray, and then all her like androids or robots or whatever. I thought this was gonna be like a Skullgirls like fighting thing.
Really?
The animation seemed that's what I thought it was gonna be, you know? And then it surprised me with the sprites. Which, can we talk about how beautiful this game is for a second?
It is so pretty.
Oh my god.
It's so pretty in so many levels. Like the pixel art, first of all, of like the foreground stuff. The level design, each level feels so distinct from each other and unique, and like each one of them has its own vibe to it, right? Like one of my favorite areas is the Rose Garden or whatever it's called, and also the music. Like it has like salsa music playing throughout the entire level. It's freaking awesome, man.
I like that. I like the vibe, the aesthetic that it has. It kind of reminds me of it's a mix of like River City Girls, Metroid, and I want to say Hotline Miami. Now, hear me out. Just hold on. Not the vibe of the game, the visual aesthetic aspect of it. You know, River City Girls, just because it takes place kind of like near some water.
Sure.
At the very least, the like your main hub.
Right.
But then afterwards, when you head out into the city for the first time, everything is all like broken and up in the air. Like where were we?
It's a different planet, right? It's called Hawkins, I think. Yeah. So to touch upon like the story real quick and the robots. So you never played Mega Man X, but have you ever played a Mega Man game before?
No.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay. Let me back up a little bit.
Mauro's gonna get a history lesson.
So Mega Man and Mega Man X, right? The basis of what the game is there's Dr. Light and Dr. Wily. Dr. Light makes Mega Man. Dr. Wily is the evil one. Okay, and Dr. Light makes these 7 robot masters, right? And they're specifically designed for certain tasks to help humanity for whatever. They all have different abilities, different elemental types, whatever. Dr. Wily, since he's evil and he has a thing against Dr. Light, he corrupts them and makes them evil and tries to take over the world. He does this like 20 times. So as a trump card, Dr. Light creates Mega Man, the super fighting robot, to beat these robot masters, right? So in Elsie, Dr. Gray built these 7 Guardians, not robot masters, these 7 Guardians with elemental types that their duties are to benefit humanity and their world. They got corrupted, and now they're like, screw everything. So then Dr. Gray creates this super fighting robot to then take them out, find them, take them out. Not only is the story basically Mega Man, but the gameplay reflects that, because in Mega Man X, you got that dash, you got that wall climb. It's a run and gun platforming shooter game, and that's exactly what Mega Man X game, like the fast pace combat of it, boom, it's right here. And once you beat the game, you don't know this, but once you beat the game, you unlock a second character who's a ninja. His name is Andrew. And what's different between Elsie and Andrew has a sword. So you got to get up close and personal with enemies now. And Andrew is just like Zero, who also wields a sword in Mega Man X.
Wait, Andrew, you play as Andrew, or he like accompanies you?
You play as Andrew, yeah. There are 2 playable characters. Yeah.
Nice.
And it's so tight. Like we were saying, the platforming is so tight. The combat it's spectacular. It's so much fun. And, as someone who's also been familiar with Mega Man X games, just Mega Man games in general, as soon as I pressed start and started a level, I'm like, you knew. Okay. Yeah. I was already familiar with most of how I'm supposed to take on certain challenges, right? On how some platforming works, how this dash works. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see you. But again, Elsie makes a stand on its own from just being another Mega Man X clone, and of course has his roguelike elements. So it's a Mega Man X roguelike, right? That's a broad umbrella term.
The best games I've always maintained are those who don't just try to be novel, right? Because novelty is great. Novelty is fantastic. I love finding new mechanics or new things that just pop off in games, right? But I've always maintained that the best games are the ones that take from what worked in the past and expand on it. Because just because somebody else did it before doesn't mean, oh, this is now untouchable, I can't do this. No. This is a really good gameplay mechanic, or it's a really good type of level design or whatever that you can build upon.
But before we get too far away from the art style, I just wanted to give you that context, right? Going back to the art style, the pixel art is beautiful. The background stuff is crazy, especially in like the frozen tundra or whatever, where they're like, there's those ice giants, or that ice giant fighting this ice dragon thing. Like, what the is going on there, man? Like, what? There's the background stuff is amazing, but also how this game opens up with that amazing intro trailer. Visually, I thought it was very reminiscent of Studio Trigger to me, with all the vibrant colors, the striking designs of all these characters, and just how like seeing Elsie dash within that trailer, I'm like, oh god, I love those colors. Even in the sprite,
very colorful. Yes.
Oh my god, it's so good, and I just love that type of stuff. And I'm sure you've noticed Elsie's color scheme is very Vice City colors, Miami.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that it was very Hotline Miami, because the game itself is very purple, pink, blue, shiny.
Fun fact, the audience may or may not know this, but everybody on this show is from Miami. You, me, Chaz, we're from Miami, born and raised, and so is Night Shift Games, the developing studio who made Elsie, and the developers themselves are also Miamians. I just think that's great, and of course we see that translated into the game, not only in the color scheme of Elsie and other characters, but also there are even like some challenge levels where like we see in the background these synth waves, sunset with the palm trees and stuff, you know? There's this character, her name is Tara, she has a little cafe, and whenever you talk to her, she's like, why don't you stick around and have a little cafecito or something, you know?
Yeah, honestly, I thought that was pretty cute. I didn't understand why, like that, when I talked to her in the hub, it kind of took me ajar. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Latin little sprite. Okay, I see. Okay, bueno, yeah, I'll take the cafecito, thank you. But it didn't click until you mentioned that one of the devs actually lived on
your street
that I live in. My street, I almost said it. But he actually lives on my street, and it's insane because like you hear about indie developers, but I always figure they all live like in Silicon Valley or like
LA, whatever. Yeah,
like somewhere not anywhere near here. But I mean, the game does really encapsulate the chaotic unlivability of Miami in a really nice way. Like that's just an average Tuesday.
Yeah. Chaos is the name of this game, man.
To kind of piggyback off of that, the sound design, like the music in this game is incredible, but it really does. Like I've noticed certain levels, and I don't know if this is based off of like when enemies show up or what, but there's like a spike every time like I go from one area to the other. There's a spike in the music, and then whenever you get to those areas where like the place locks, and then you get the little text at the bottom with the exclamation marks. Yeah. I actually don't know what that is, because it's not like a boss fight. It's just another set of enemies. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Those are challenge rooms, technically.
Challenge rooms. Okay, yeah. Well, the music in there made it really like, I'm like, okay, like this is upbeat. Like I felt like I was going in there like to fight a boss every single time.
Yeah, right. And that's also another Mega Man thing. When I first saw it, I'm like, oh shit, boss time already? Mini boss? No, just challenge room. I'm like, oh okay. Yeah, like each level has like 3 or 4 challenge rooms before the boss fight, and after each challenge room, you get to these other rooms where you can heal or upgrade your items or buy new items. You know, a store or whatever. There's even like another room after that where like you get more bonuses, more bonus items, you know? So yeah, and when you get to these like more chill areas, the music dies down a bit, and then when you go back into like an actual level with enemies, you're right, the music spikes up and the energy is always there. It knows when it should come and go. Yeah,
I feel like music is very important in video games like this. Like it's obviously it's important in most mediums, but video games specifically like this that have a lot going on, the music should reflect that.
For sure.
And it does, in my opinion, it does. It's a very nicely packaged thing.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish the game had, like the only gripe that I can think of, is I really wish it had like a double jump feature.
It does technically, but
Yes,
you gotta unlock it. You gotta find it.
yes, but it's what, like those, you gotta press X and then press down on the D-pad on top of something, and then you explode upwards, right?
If you do that, if you jump and you do that dive attack or whatever, you bounce off not only those like ring things to like, you know, they're like trampolines, but you can also do that against enemies, and that also gives you a big boost. Very good for momentum and movement. But there's also these unlockables items that allows you to have double jumps.
Oh.
I showed you, I sent you a picture of one of them.
What the, hold on.
It was literally the other day, the first day we were playing this. You were complaining about a double jump, and I'm like, there's one right here.
Wait. How did I miss that? There's a double jump. No way. Falcon armament. Gain double jump energy plus 75. No. No. I missed it.
And that's only one of the many items that can give you a double jump. And speaking of items, there's like over 200 or around about 200 items in the entire game that you can buy. And there are so many references to like pop culture media within these items, within the levels, you know. There's so much love and care, and like you can tell the developers had fun with this. This game has been in development for 8 years. You know, and for an indie game, that's a long time. And how this game was at first, totally different than the actual end product from my research. At first, it was supposed to be like you're in a room, there's waves coming, you go to the next room. Like there's a teleporter that takes you to the next room, you gotta fight through waves, so on and so forth, and that was the game.
Okay.
The color palette was a lot more, very toned down, a lot more grays and darker colors. And a couple of years ago, Gerard the Completionist, who also has been a crucial part in the development and the publishing of this game, he did a segment on X-Play a couple of years ago showcasing the game. And even that's changed from the incoming wave format to what is more familiar now, that there's actual level progression and RNG generated levels, but the colors are still different. A lot of the UI stuff was different. There's been huge changes and huge overhauls made in this time period to have the thing that we have now. And it's an incredible process to actually like go back and see and just how different an original vision can become in the end product.
That's a lot of love for a indie game. I mean, I'm not saying indie games don't have love, but that's almost like AAA, like a AAA story.
Yeah. And, you know, the references just don't only touch video games like Pac-Man, Mega Man, Zelda. There's even like anime references. One of the trophies is a Sailor Moon reference, you know? You can buy Goku's shirt thing his or gi, whatever, his gi, and the the item name for it is plot armor. Like, that's what it's called. Like, come on. And not only like references to pop culture media, but even, you know, talking about the voice actors and the people who are actually a part of this game, there are references to their stuff too. Whenever you level up and like you pick one of your passive upgrades, Elsie or Andrew will, you know, say a thing like, you know, got this thing almost at 100%.
Yeah, I noticed that.
There's a voice clip of them saying unlimited power. And that's a Star Wars. Yeah, that's a Star Wars reference. But there's also a line where they say power overwhelming. And that's a reference, I'm sure, to Gerard's and Alex Fasciani's boy band, Big Bad Bosses, and their album is called Power Overwhelming.
What?
So I also want to take this opportunity and shout out Alex Fasciani, who was a guest on this show not too long ago. He's also a voice actor in this game. He plays Gordon, the Pelican Chef. And also a shout out to his wife. Congratulations to them. Pokekels, who is one of the bosses in this game as well. An amazing job done by amazing people. And the voice acting is stellar as well, in my opinion.
Overall, what did you think of the game as a whole?
Like I said at the top, roguelikes aren't a genre I typically aim for because I dread that feeling of, dying over and over again and feeling like I made zero progress or little to no progress. That's why I haven't gotten far with Crypt of the Necrodancer like the original game, because the farthest I've gotten was I beat the first level, the first floor, and I can't get past that. And every time I die, I got to restart, no shit. But like it doesn't feel like I'm getting any better. Or, there's no big scaling, and that's fine because these games are meant to be hard, right?
Right.
But in contrast with Elsie, that big power high you get the more you play, because my first run, I got to the final boss of the first level on my first run without even, thinking too much of it. And the only reason why I didn't beat it's because that boss, Luna or whatever its name is, I was just overwhelmed by its attack patterns because it was just like lasers.
Right.
Then I died, But like, I didn't feel bad. I felt like, oh my God, I made it to the boss in my first run. That's in a roguelike. That doesn't happen. There's something different here, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel motivated to play. That's why I didn't put down the controller for a 6-hour period. That's why I got to the credits and almost all the achievements within that 6-hour period, because I couldn't stop playing this game because of how fun it is and how rewarding it feels to me. And it's just that gameplay loop, like, okay, I died, whatever, I know I can do this. I feel empowered, not punished or degraded by dying. There's always something to help me get farther, do better, and also my skill also improved. And it's nice to have a familiar moveset when thinking about the Mega Man X similarities. Overall, I had an amazing fun time with this game, and I think that should be the most important thing for me to based off of my time with Elsie. I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. What about you?
I mean, I have to agree with a lot of the points you said. This is my first roguelike, and I mean, I like it. I don't know if this is the benchmark for which I should judge other roguelikes, because maybe I'll just be disappointed in the rest because they may be a little too punishing. I like that it does progress reset correctly. What I mean by that is in games like Bloodborne, for example, you die and you lose all your things, right? All of your blood coins or whatever, but you get to keep your upgrades and stuff, right? And that's something that you said that doesn't happen in other roguelikes. Like you lose you lose everything, or there's no like scaling or whatever. Well, in this game, you lose just your level progress. You just have to do the level again. But everything you gained, all of the upgrades that you got, all of the levels that you gained, like they're still there. If you beat one of the challenge rooms and you walked up to that area with the 3 objects and you get to choose your little object, that's still on you. I think that's great, and you
lose those items when you die, but like you still have the chance to pick those things back up.
Oh, okay. But like your progression, your actual leveling
you
up,
don't
like
have you don't have to rebuy those items.
Right. Right.
They're unlocked.
Yeah, and that's good. I like that. That's a really. If I opened up a roguelike and I was just playing Dark Souls again, I probably would just put it down because I'm like, well, I got enough punishment in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't need this. But this one's it's nice. It's campy almost. I felt really nice playing this game because it just kind of felt like a really nice bubbly thing to jump into and bounce around for a bit. I liked it. I can't the only reason I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 is because I feel like it could probably have like a little bit more variety moveset wise, but I was never bored with it. I genuinely enjoyed it. I was never groaning or like having to like force my way past it. In fact, I really like how it takes all these elements of different games and just kind of puts them all together to create something new. I had fun playing the game, and I'm going to continue playing it until I beat it at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Like 8 out of 10, solid game. If
you want more variety in combat, try to unlock some of the other weapons within the shop. And
that's probably it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of just like parrying. I've unlocked 2 weapons, but
Okay.
I just kind of stuck with the sword because not sword, the gun, because it was easier to use. But
Yeah. You'll get other
like,
guns, but like they do different things. They shoot different ways.
I'm going to reserve full judgment until I beat the game, but
Yeah.
for now, I really enjoy it, and I feel like if people who enjoy roguelikes, you should definitely try it out. People who have never played roguelikes before, like I have, you'll have fun. I don't know if it's a great introduction to roguelikes, but it's definitely a play this game and you will enjoy this if you don't enjoy roguelikes.
Right. I see what you're saying. I think this is a good entry-level game for newcomers to roguelikes, I think.
Okay.
Because, you know, you're not meted with... The first time you play, you're not going to be hitting yourself against a wall every single time, you know? Like, there's... Because of how unpunishing it is, not saying that it's easy, there is a high level of challenge to this game. But once you get better, then, you know, you see the progress made. I think for newcomers and casual enjoyers of these games, like, you know, if you like Hades, you know, that's not like a super hard roguelike where it's, you know, you're dying every 5 seconds and you know, you feel bad about, or you're getting punished for dying. If you like that type of stuff, I think people would really enjoy this stuff. You know, newcomers or just casual enjoyers and all. Even, you know, the hardcore roguelike people who, you know, love... Who are masochists, you know, like Chaz, you know, like Chaz will probably, he probably will love roguelike games if you played them more.
Yeah, people like Chaz who love hurting themselves emotionally, mentally. I feel like it's okay to just take a break every now and again, sit down and enjoy a video game for once. And I feel like Elsie is a really good game for you to enjoy instead of just hating your controller and your console and yourself.
Yeah, the point is to have fun, and that's what the developers really want to push, you know? If you guys like what we've been saying about this game, if you kind of want to try it out, if we have piqued your interest, I highly recommend you do so. Again, it's on PlayStation 5s, on Nintendo Switch, it is on Steam. Thank you again to Platonic and Night Shift Games for allowing us to have this opportunity to have early access to this game and to review it. Tune in next week where I'm just gonna straight up say what's coming out next week. Tune in next week where I have a one-on-one interview with one of the developers, Pedro, who has worked on this game, and you know, we talk more about the development cycle of this game, what it really means to make an indie game for so long from the ground up, you know, and all the trials and tribulations that goes into it, and of course finding out more about him and learning who he is and a little bit of Miami bonding, you know. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Play the game. It's out today. It's out right now. It is literally
out right now. Yeah,
if you're listening to this, the game is out. Go buy it. Go play it.
Hashtag not an ad, hashtag not sponsored.
Again, we are making no money out of this. Go play the game. Go buy it right now. You know I'm telling you to buy it for real because nobody is financially sustaining me. Right now. Play the game.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on another edition of Razdaz Reviews on the Razzle Dazzle Show. Big shout outs and thanks to Platonic and Night Shift Games for giving us the opportunity to have early access to their newest game, Elsie. Be sure to follow them on their socials and be sure to check out Elsie on Steam, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch. It is out now and we highly recommend you check it out. Links to everything will be in the description down below. And make sure to follow us on Instagram at Razzle Dazzle Show, on TikTok at Razzle_Dazzle_Show, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Raz_Daz_Pod. Be sure to leave us 5-star ratings and a nice little written review down below, and we'll catch you on the next one. Next time on The Razzle Dazzle Show.
But I think video games are magical, man, and I think that they're a really incredible form of like art and expression that I feel some people just don't give a lot of credit to because maybe they don't see it because they see it more as something of entertainment, but there's so much work that goes into making video games that I've always respected it. But now ever since I started trying to make video games, I understood a little more of that method and like how it's a miracle that any video games get made ever. So yeah, man, they are my life.
Tune in next week.